I'd like to call this meeting to order. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
Commissioner Bunting.
Present.
Commissioner Lumberman.
Here.
Commissioner Murphy.
In Elma.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here. All righty. Commissioner Lemmerman, could you give us a prayer tonight?
Heavenly Father, we ask that you would bless this meeting and help us to work things out to the best purposes for the taxpayers of Gratiot County. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
We could stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
of the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Born and unborn. Okay, any changes to the agenda anybody has? Oh, it is on. We got all the lights working.
Hearing no changes, I have moved the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Bailey to approve the agenda. Do I have a second? Support by Commissioner Smith. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. We have an agenda. Brief public comment. Any comment?
Do you want us to give a quick update on the wind project?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Sure. So again, Jory Fox with Energy.
Okay, I think, can we get better volume here?
People can't hear you out and about if you don't sit there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jory Fox with Invenergy. Giving a quick update on the Heartland Farms wind project. So we have submitted all of our permit applications so far as of the first week of November. So they're currently being reviewed by the Spicer Group. We gave this update at the last Planning Commission meeting, but they do have the printed copies of the special land use permit and the site plans for the county. The chairwoman, Carla of the Planning Commission, was hoping to have that public hearing in early January. But that is, we do have to coordinate with Spicer on their review of all the materials as well. So there's no date that's set in stone yet. But that is what the Planning Commission is thinking. And so, yeah, right now it's really up to Spicer to do their due diligence on behalf of the county, make sure the turbines fall within all of the correct setbacks and the appropriate zoning and whatnot. So they're doing their work on that front. And we're happy to provide any additional copies of the materials if requested. But that is with the Planning Commission. And yeah, we're looking forward to moving the project forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone online that'd like to address the Gratiot County Commission? Just go ahead and unmute yourself. If you're on a cell phone, I think it's *6 or something like that. All righty, let's move on to the consent calendar. Anybody like to pull anything out of the calendar? Otherwise, we're looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Smith,
Or
support by Commissioner Bailey. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion passed. We're up to you, Tracy.
Very good. Hello, everyone. My report this evening is a bit heavily weighted on litigation and legal actions. So the first of these that I'll mention this evening is that there has been an appeal of the decision of the Gratiot County Apportionment Committee. A petition was received by the Court of Appeals on November 10th. Mr. Edward Lorenz has petitioned the Michigan Court of Appeals, and he's alleging a couple of things. First, that the committee didn't follow the statutory timelines, that they adopted the plan sooner than is allowed by law. This may arise from the confusion and considerable discussion that was going on around that time and around the state about what the date was of the last official publication of the U.S. Census figures, as it's all tied to those timelines. Also alleged is that the statutory requirements for district apportionment haven't been met. And there are a variety of requirements and factors, including how population is divided, how districts are, that they be contiguous, how cities and townships are divided, and of course, that it all be nonpartisan. So if Mr. Lorenz prevails, the matter will be remanded to, the apportionment committee with instructions by the court. I have forwarded the documents to Dave Stoker, who will work on this with an attorney in his firm, Mr. Tim Barone. Next, as I continued to report, our negotiations with DTE are continuing in an attempt to resolve our wind turbine tax dispute. Things are progressing as I continue to report, although slowly. I do remain convinced that everyone is negotiating in good faith, and that's so important. The MREC negotiation team did finally receive DTE's counteroffer. It took them about a month to turn that around. We are formulating our response, and we expect to deliver it to DTE not later than early next week. Yeah, the MREC board meets every Friday morning at 8 a.m. And this was discussed in some detail at the last meeting, and we'll put finishing touches on it this week, I'm sure. Also, there is movement in the opioid litigation. I sent you all a link to a briefing that Max is hosting this Friday, and I hope you'll find time to tune in either to the live session or the replay. This will provide, I expect it'll provide a nice overview of the developments in advance of an appearance by one of our legal representatives, Mr. Michael Beam. You met Mr. Beam in the early stages when he and the fellow from down southeast appeared to talk with us about this and to solicit our interest in this litigation. Mr. Beam plans to attend at either the first or the second meeting in December to talk with you about a settlement agreement that is on the table. It does not settle all of the cases, but he will be here to talk with you about that and answer your questions and determine ultimately if you would like to participate in that settlement proposal. So stay tuned for his discussion, but I do urge you to take advantage of the MAC session, Michigan Association of Counties webinar. I believe it's this Friday morning. In lighter news, I had a meeting with the department heads on Monday, November 8th. It had been a while since we all got together. It was well attended. We always appreciate that. And it's getting to be sort of a usual sort of agenda. Our team provided updates on financial matters, human resources, and IT. Matt described the email migration project. He's mentioned it to you, and he'll be speaking with you about it again this evening, I think. On that project, we just want to make very, very sure that we're getting information out about this project early and often so that no one is surprised. And again, Matt will be bringing a piece of that to you later in the agenda this evening. Finally, also in IT news, IT Right has announced that it has been acquired by a company out of South Carolina. That company is called VC3, a most telling corporate name. The heads of both companies, IT Right and VC3, extended Matt and me the courtesy of coming for a face-to-face meeting a couple of weeks ago to tell us about this. It was not yet, they said, a done deal, so they asked us not to be, spreading the word. It is now a done deal. Matt sent something out to staff today indicating we don't expect changes that should only increase the capability and responsiveness of the entity. So we have every reason to believe that services are going to continue much as they are currently rendered. So what will happen the cost of future contracts. Matt and I are either cynical, suspicious, or experienced. You decide, but we'll take that as it comes. We have a 3-year deal with them right now, with a planned increase of 5% each year. So we'll see what the future holds. We're unconcerned, but aware. And so we pass that along to you. And that is all I can think of to report to you this evening, other than the items that are on the agenda. A few items down. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Any questions for Tracy? All right, let's move on to Commissioner Committee reports. Commissioner Bailey?
On Tuesday, I had a Commission on Aging meeting. Staff is starting to get pretty tired, mainly due to the fact that after their work, they've been having to go out and deliver meals because we don't have enough volunteer drivers. And so that's starting to weigh on them. So the call has gone out several times that we need several volunteer drivers. We need at least 4 immediately. So, and that remains to be seen, but that's one of the issues they're having. Everything else is going along fine and whatnot there. Thursday I had a mental health meeting and an ambulance meeting. We got together and discussed run times and things like that. They have dropped over the last 6 months to a year, mainly due to staffing. They just don't have the staff to run the ambulances like they used to. And that is a concern, not only to the people, the patient that's waiting for an ambulance, but also obviously to them. They like to provide world-class service and they're not being able to do that effectively right now. So that's one of their concerns. Other than that, it was a short meeting. They usually are, and nothing else really going on except for that situation. And after that, I attended a mental health board meeting, and we're starting to get back together. I think there was just a few on Zoom this time. And of course, they're concerned about the up and coming mandate after the first of the year. And people are starting to take stock of the staff that they may be losing, and it's all due to the vaccinations. They right now have only 52% of their employees have been vaccinated fully. And so they hope to bring that up another 10 to 15%, but they feel, and with that and with other things that people can do, they hope to be less than 30%. They figure they're going to be down about 30% after the first of the year. And so that's my report.
Thank you, George. I don't have anything. Jan?
Yes, I attended also MMR meeting, and pretty much what Commissioner Bailey said. Also, I had a meeting at Bethany Township, and we also had a meeting with RESD that we all attended. Now, I thought that went very well. And a lot of thought went into organizing that. And I thought the extra touch of the pizza was really great too. So other than that, I just had the 3 meetings.
Thank you, Jan. Sam?
I really didn't have any meetings. I spoke with about 4 townships in a couple villages after our meeting a couple weeks ago that we had at the RESD about the AR fund, American Relief Funds. They all thought it was a good meeting. I even spoke with the one gentleman, really happy with it. He wanted North Shade, just wanted to leave it alone, and had a chat with him, and some things that I could see could be done there, the possibility. He never thought of it that way. And so I think it went well. I think everybody's, we thought we'd let it rest a little bit, and then maybe after the first of the year, have another meeting and see what but they're all kind of thinking about what they can be doing and, trying to get some projects around.
All right, thank you, Sam. John?
For committee reports, I'll just say that I have heard a lot of good feedback about the meeting that we had Wednesday, a couple of weeks ago. In talking to Arcata Township, and I'll just spread this out just in case you guys have heard this too. Arcata Township has they're going to send in their request for ARP funds for the third time. And the first two times they sent it in and they got a notification back that it was received. But apparently down in the bottom, and I didn't see this myself, but in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's a little button that says certified, and they did not click the certified button. So they were in the process of sending it again. And I just mentioned that just in case that helps any of you guys with your townships. I'm hoping that on another subject, I'm hoping that you guys all got to see the email from Chris Oosterhoff regarding a millage review. And this isn't, I'm very proud of the idea, and it's not really, I can't really even take credit of it being my brainchild totally. It's several people are involved in thinking about this. But the basic premise of the idea is that since 2013, revenues to the entities that are receiving millages has gone up 53%. And the thought is it possible that perhaps the money has increased to a level where, it's not being well spent? My thought is always that money is best spent by the hand that earns it. And I would doubt that there's very many people in Gratiot County that have seen their incomes go up 53% since 2013. So what the letter is attempting to do is just to review, have the department heads review with Chris, and just to look at revenues, look at spending, look at how the money is being spent, and perhaps think about giving a tax cut or a drop in the millage rate. If that were to happen, if we were to come to that conclusion, the decision would not happen until next September, and it would be in effect for the 2023 year. So we would have time to go through, the windmill situation, understand what's going to happen with the windmill situation and what's going to happen to, county funds, county revenues, things like that. So it would give us, we would have plenty of time to make an informed decision should we want to make a decision. And maybe it's good the way it is. I just thought it would be good to just take a look, just have the information, take a look. And if you folks agree that nothing has been done yet, probably when we get to new business, I would be looking for a motion just to make sure that you folks agree that that's a good idea.
Well, thank you, John. I think that's an excellent idea we should look at. So, all right, moving on. New business, we're up to Bernie with the drains. I see he's on the board there. Here he comes.
All right, Chuck, you up to the full faith and credit?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, I also here tonight have Bobby Bedinsky, and he's representing Bedinsky and Company Municipal Finance Advisors. And he's gonna be my expert behind me on any questions you have. I guess I was relayed that you may have questions, and so I asked Bobby to attend the Zoom meeting also for your questions. I tried on my letter there, I included, I tried kind of explaining the nuts and bolts of it. But I guess now if Bobby, would you like to say something to him?
No, this is well, yes, I'll say, kind of summarize it. The resolution pledges the county's full faith and credit should the county of Gratiot special assessments be insufficient. The maximum liability, assuming there are no prepays to the county of Gratiot, is $225,750. That'll be spread over 20 years. There are special assessments equal to that amount that are payable over 20 years. And the drainage district, we would recommend that they charge 1% above the average interest rate on the bonds, which has not been determined yet, but would probably be in the range of 3% to 3.5%. It'll be determined by a bond sale, which will take place later this year or early in January. This is kind of like co-signing a note that probably most of us have done for our children at some time or point. And the intent is to be paid from special assessments against the benefited properties. And again, there are special assessments that match the $225,750. This drain is an inter-county drain. It runs through the county of Gratiot and the county of Mount Calm. Mount Calm County last week passed their full faith and credit resolution also.
All right, I guess I have two questions. It sounds like we would pass this and it would allow us to get a lower interest rate. Are you estimating what that lower interest rate might be?
Well, I've done many drains.
An estimate.
My guess is that there may not be any bidders if there's no full faith and credit, or I am guessing, I don't know, probably 1% to 2% higher. So 4% to 5%.
Okay, and what would be the drawback for Gratiot County if we were to pass this as full faith and credit?
The drawback, it is considered against your legal debt margin, but you have an extreme amount of capacity to issue debt. So it has very little impact, if any, on the county's finances because there are special assessments in a like amount for the drain assessments.
Have we ever had a county in the state of Michigan come into a problem with this where we couldn't collect the special assessments?
I am not aware of any. The special assessments are treated just like an ad valorem tax. They are put on the drain assessments are put on the tax roll December 1st of each year. The property owners have until February 14th to pay them without additional interest or penalties. So far to date, Gratiot County and Mount Calm County, for that matter, have put them on the delinquent tax roll, and the county treasurer has historically paid those out of the delinquent tax revolving funds. You as Gratiot County, Gratiot County is not responsible for any portion of Mount Calm County's taxes. It is not a joint and several agreement. You are only responsible for $225,750, assuming there are no prepayments.
All righty, thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I got a question. It's 1,500 acres and 1,000 acres is in Montcalm County and 500's in Gratiot. And we don't have a third of the bill. Is that just where
Sam, that's because where this is going through, it's behind the Lux Funeral. I don't know if it's a Lux Funeral Home in Carson. You'd be more expert on that. You know where the funeral home is, just on the east side?
Yeah.
Okay. It starts to the south of there, goes through the school property, and through 2 blocks of town prior to the school property. Then it becomes What's that?
I understand, costing more to do business in town then. It's coming through a town.
Yeah, because it's all underground pipe, and
Yeah, okay.
asphalt. They're the most of the project, as you see by the
Yeah.
dollar amount.
It's just not out in the middle of a field somewhere. The other question I have is that when you look at the 225 we'll be obligated for, didn't we just do a deal here maybe a year or two ago? We took some money out of the delinquent tax fund and captured the interest ourselves
On the different drains.
at a different
Yes.
rate.
Yep.
I understand we have plenty of funds there. I mean, is it something we ought to think about or?
Would that, what
Well,
Sam,
this assessment is against property owners. It's not an at-large assessment against the county.
I think it's a
Bobby,
different,
could the county bid on this bond?
Pardon?
Could the county bid on this bond?
Yes, they could,
That
but
would
the
be
money's
maybe
out for 20 years.
Sam,
Would you
I
have to
think
take-
that might,
Would you have to
The
take all
interest
of it or
rate
could
is-
you take your part?
Pardon?
Would you have to take all of it or would you have to take just your part?
You'd have to take all of it. I mean, the county could prepay it, but there, to me, there's no benefit to the county to prepay it because it's not being assessed against the county. It's
County.
being assessed
That's
against
the
property
taxpayer.
owners.
yeah, it's not against the county.
And I'm guessing the one that you did a couple years ago, the county was assessed a portion of it and they
Right.
paid their share out of other funds.
Because it was an at-large, this one isn't an at-large.
Correct.
I think we bought the whole drains project, didn't we, Bernie?
no, I did
The
not.
last one we did?
You just paid the county's portion. It's the
county's
same
part?
as right now. when
Okay.
we do prepayment. Like, you guys will have the opportunity here to do that. I don't have that number in front of me, Sam. It's gonna be probably 10%, approximately 10% of the 225 there. So, 22,000 or something would be your prepayment. If you choose to. Then we do not borrow that amount.
Right.
Correct. Which then the liability portion of the county goes down for the full faith and credit. This is a maximum amount that you're adopting. And prior to the sale of bonds, we will see if there's any prepayments either by Montcalm County or Gratiot County, whether it be the county or any benefited properties. And if they've made prepayments, we will reduce the borrowing accordingly.
And that's pretty common right now. We've been getting roughly a third of a project in prepayment.
Okay, any other,
Between the townships and the county and
oh, you're freezing up, Bernie. Oh, there you're back. You froze up for a second there.
I'm sorry. Well,
I move we pledge the full faith in the county for this drain 172.
All right, motion by Commissioner Smith, support by Commissioner Bailey. Any further discussion?
The only thing I would like to do is to get with Mr. Osterhoff to see if we want to pay our portion ahead.
But we won't have that number until
We won't
you,
have that yet.
yeah.
Yeah, but when that's time, I think
David's come in.
Prof can tell us what we need to do.
John, were you unmuting? Did you have a question or something?
I was wondering if the Drain Commission was a government entity, and if so, they would qualify for ARP funds. It's kind of a facetious question, but I was just curious, if that would be the case.
Don't think so. Drains seem to be one thing that they can't do.
Okay.
Water, you can do water, but drains seems to be one of those things that's out of bounds.
I think I asked Chris that question when he's on here, or maybe Tracy. They've been digging into that. There is some wordage in there. It's how it's interpreted, but they're supposed to be coming out with another interpretation in December. So we'll see.
Kathy, this is the kind of thing that we would want to have an opportunity to look at as opposed to kind of speaking off the cuff. I feel like we might have done some exploration of this, but I frankly can't remember. So Bernie, why don't you give Chris a call and see where we are on that, okay?
Right. Well, it sounds like that discussion would be when you come back to us anyway, so we should be prepared.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, any other questions? We have a motion on the floor, probably roll call.
Yes. Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Bailey,
Yes.
Commissioner Bunting,
Yes.
Commissioner Lumberman,
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy.
Yes, motion passed. Thank you, Bernie.
Yep, thank you, and thank you, Bobby.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Okay, next up, Brian, you have something from the district court?
Good evening, Commissioners. Here tonight, requesting authorization for another round of COVID funding. This one is the Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding. We did a joint application in 2020 between the Prosecutor's Office, Sheriff's Department, and the courts. And we wrapped that up. This one just came out at the end of October. So we're looking to apply for another 75,000 that's out there. It's an application or an allocation, not necessarily a grant. So our county, because we have a population under 75,000, we qualify for up to 75,000. So we did quite a few nifty little things that allowed us to navigate the build on that right now. One of those being tethers, GPS tethers. We're looking to secure some through this. Just it's difficult to keep those counties on the hook if we're not securing funding or charging those to defendants. And then also some IT upgrades, working with Matt on that, getting some more laptops rolled out to staff. So it's really kind of a continuation of what we did last year.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Bunting. Any discussion or questions on this?
I would add in there too, authorization for Commissioner Murphy to sign as the authorizing official. But
All right, and you're requesting the funds on this from the government funds too?
Request to apply an application.
correct. This is separate from the ARP funds.
Okay.
I'll be back at a later time.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I thought I heard you.
Sheriff's Department. So
All righty. Any discussion on this motion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion passed. Thank you. Okay, Matt, looks like you're up, or no, we have a policy on federal holidays. Who's handling this?
I'll handle this. Sheila's not able to be here this evening. She had an appointment that conflicted, so I offered to present it. What we are asking for is that a past practice be memorialized in policy, and it's quite simply this. For example, payday is on Thursday. And we occasionally have a holiday, maybe Veterans Day, that will fall on a Thursday. Every Thanksgiving falls on a Thursday. So then the question arises, must folks wait for their payroll funds until Friday, or can they be issued on Wednesday? For all but one of the years, as I recall, that I've been here, it's just been done by issuing it on Wednesday. I think one year when I was asked actually to weigh in, I took a different position. And frankly, I don't really care. I just think whatever the practice is, we need to memorialize it in policy. I think it's quite fair. It places us at no disadvantage to have payroll be issued on those particular occasions on the Wednesday preceding the Thursday holiday. So Sheila has provided you the policy that would be amended and the language that she proposes. And so we are simply looking for a motion to approve this amendment to the policy. Again, providing for release of payroll funds on the Wednesday prior to a Thursday holiday. And the reason being, of course, that banks are not processing on state and federal holidays.
Okay, any questions? If not, I think we're looking for a motion.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Bailey, second.
Support.
Support by Commissioner Smith. Go ahead.
Tracy, when you're paid when your payroll hits your account on Friday, do we hold back? If I hired in, would I have a paycheck held back like a week or two?
I'm sorry, Sam, I got air blowing in here. It's always an air blowing here.
If I hired into the county, do you hold like maybe, so when we pay ahead on a Wednesday, are we paying them that they're going to come back on a Friday? I mean, do we owe them for that Friday, or is it?
Well, it would be the previous period, wouldn't it, that we're talking about paying? What's been
Have a hold.
committed to?
Have a hold.
Yeah,
So if I hire in, you're not gonna, if we all get paid on Friday and I hire in on that day, payroll's Friday, I'm not getting paid that Friday.
So for my office, payroll ends on Saturday at midnight, technically Sunday morning if guys are working night shift, and then they get paid that following Thursday
For that Sunday or whatever. it is. Yeah, okay.
for that previous.
We owe it to another, it's not a matter of it. Okay.
Not like you don't know what.
It's just a regular period.
I'm hearing about 3 questions in
We
that.
got it figured out.
I think we got it.
That's Tracy.
Okay.
Just hired on and I can't get paid Friday.
He's looking for money.
Well, we'll leave it at that then, but there were
Okay.
about 3 issues that you raised there, so.
Okay, any further questions? And all those in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passed.
Thank you.
So we are on to Matt. You have something for us.
And let me go ahead and get my screen shared. I've just got a very brief PowerPoint that I wanted to kind of go through to illustrate some of the points. I'm going to start with slide 1 rather than the end. Okay. So today I just wanted to, I feel like I described this in my memo pretty well, but I did want to just take an opportunity to kind of go over it in front of all of you. So currently, the county is working on an email migration project. The board approved the funding for this as part of the budget this year under our list of capital improvement projects. So the goals of this migration are threefold. The main goal is to improve security for our email system. We also want to meet compliance standards. We have to meet criminal justice and health information data standards. And migrating to this new email system will help us do this. And then one of the other goals of migrating to this new system is to improve the experience for our users. And some of the things that are under that banner would be like allowing our users to have larger mailboxes. A lot of our users actually bump up to their a limit as far as how much mail they're able to have in their mailbox. It'll also make the email system more compatible with cell phones and tablets that a lot of our users are using these days. And like I said, it's going to make the email system more user-friendly, but also retain some familiarity from the system that we're currently using. I approached this project similar to the way that we worked on the website project. So we actually formed a work group so that I could get some opinions from some other users here at the county. I wanted to allow them to have feedback on the system that we were moving to. I wanted to chat with them and learn a little bit more about how the people in their departments are currently using the email system. And I wanted to involve other departments also, because once we commit to picking a new solution, it's going to be difficult and costly to move back. And then this email system, everybody here at the county uses it, so it's going to impact everybody when we move to a new system. These were the people that participated in both of our work group sessions. Angie Thompson from the clerk's office, Brian Wagner from specialty courts, Corinne Kelly participated from the Commission on Aging, Dan Morden from Central Dispatch, myself, Nancy from the Veterans Affairs Office, and then the undersheriff represented the sheriff's office. This is our very tentative timeline for this project. So back in September, I began auditing our current email system. And the main reason for doing this is to make sure that when we move to a new system, I have a good count of users and email addresses and accounts, because the licensing for the new system is a higher cost per user than our current system. So I wanted to make sure that we had a really good inventory of everybody that's using the system so that we can make the system as least expensive as possible when we move to the new system. In October, we held our first work group meeting, and I also emailed out my audit reports to our department heads so that they could tell me if there were any email addresses that I didn't inventory quite correctly, or if it didn't have any documentation attached to like why they're using this email address. Like I could add and document exactly why they're using email addresses in the new system. This month we held an additional work group meeting, which mostly went over, it was a demonstration of the mobile applications that are included in this new email system. And then we also discussed user training and what our users expect as far as training goes and how user-friendly the new system is. So our intent is in January to make user training videos and like handout sheets available to our users, and then actually in February go live with the new system. And like I said, it's a very tentative timeline. If we get hung up at a certain point, this may get delayed, but that's kind of what we're looking at right now. So the solution that we decided to go with is called Microsoft 365 or Office 365. It's hosted in specialized data centers for government. These data centers are CGIS compliant, which is important for law enforcement and courts. They're also HIPAA compliant, which is important for courts and our Veterans Affairs Office. This system's widely used across the globe. Over 1 million companies are using it worldwide. And like I said before, the user interface for the system is very similar to what we're currently using. So the reason I wanted to come before the board tonight was to get so the money's been approved as part of the budget, and ARP money is being used for this, but I wanted to allow the board to approve my recommendation of vendors for this project. So similar to other projects that I've brought before the board, I tend to separate out licensing or hardware costs from the actual migration labor that IT Right charges us for larger projects, because purchasing hardware or licensing through IT Right tends to be more expensive. So what I like to do is I like to shop around for the hardware costs through the licensing, and then typically pick IT Right as our vendor for the migration labor portion of our projects. So this project, I solicited quotes for the licensing for the email system from Dell and IT Right. Dell participates in special pricing for government agencies such as ourselves. So they were able to give us a bit of a price break on the licensing pricing. And they're also able to give us a little bit more flexibility as far as how we subscribe to that licensing. So with Dell, I'm actually able to do what they call month-to-month licensing at a cheaper cost, but than what I'm able to do annual licensing with IT Right. So it gives the county more flexibility. If we have difficulty filling a position, we can turn off the licensing for that person and not get charged that licensing fee every month if that position goes vacant when we're doing the month-to-month licensing. The migration labor part of it, I feel that we should award that part of it to IT Right because they're most familiar with our systems, and they will also be the ones that are supporting the systems after we go live with them. And like I said, the total, but both of these amounts added together is going to be well under our budgeted amount. But the license, like I said before, the licensing cost is actually an estimate. And the reason it's estimated is because we still do have a few more months between now and our go live time. And there's the potential for people to be employed by the county or leave employment. So I can only offer an estimate right now. Those are really the only things I wanted to go over today. The main point of, like I said, coming before the board is to make you aware of the timeline and the details of the project, but also to get approval for selecting Dell as our licensing vendor and then IT Right as the vendor to actually perform the maintenance work.
Okay, Matt, thank you. I understand this is all in the budget. You're asking us to approve your two choices of vendors.
That's correct. Yep.
So we need a motion for that, or any questions first?
I'll have,
Go ahead, John.
thank you. Matt, my question would be, you talked in there that a costly option would be if you had to abort and go back. What would the cost be? Like, would it be possible that you'd be 6 weeks or 2 months in and you'd say, oh my gosh, we got to go back to the old system? Like how soon would you know? And would you lose an annual fee, or would it be a pro rata cost?
Yeah, so I can't foresee that happening, but if it did, we would be out 1 or maybe 2 months worth of licensing costs because we're doing the month-to-month licensing. And then we would be out, I would think we would be out the entire labor cost of the actual migration work. And then we would have to incur additional labor migration work probably to move us back. It wouldn't be the full 16,000, but it would be some portion of that. But like I said, part of the reason for the work group is to avoid a scenario like that. I mean, avoid users feeling like there's a scenario like that, I guess. There might be a technology issue, but there wouldn't be a user issue.
Okay, so it wouldn't be because the users did not understand and just they wouldn't say, I don't like it because I don't understand it, and hence we got to go back.
I don't really foresee that happening. My experience with the work group, both times we met, is people were very excited about it and we're basically asking, can we do this now? We don't want to wait until February, but it takes time to get things in place, especially for 200 people. So I can't really foresee that happening based on the feedback I've received.
John, I'd like to add that every member of the work group is there in a representative capacity. So if we have an elected official, we want the elected official to be talking to other elected officials, but also to her staff and the functions that they perform. And that's why the diversity of the work group is so important. Folks in various departments at various levels of the organization. So in addition to providing feedback at meetings, their task and their charge is to be talking about this and bringing back any concerns or comments from the folks with whom they are speaking. So a project like this, yes, somebody is going to say, I don't like this, let's do something different. There's always one, but this is a project that, as we reported previously, is essential for our security, but also has been, we've had staff that have just been begging us to change the system. So every possible protection we can think of, we've put into place to make sure that we're making the best, most appropriate decisions.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that. I've been with the county for 3 years now, and basically when I was doing the rounds on day one, meeting with different people, this was one of the things that came up multiple times as I was walking around the building, was just this email system doesn't work for us. So they're really looking forward to moving to something different.
Okay, any other questions? We were looking for a motion.
I make the motion. I move that we adopt Matt's recommendation.
All right, motion by Commissioner Lemmerman, support by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passed. Very good. Thank you, Matt. Next, soil erosion issue. Looks, Tracy, you're handling this?
Yeah, I'll take care of this. I'm hoping to finally put to bed tonight a project that's been hanging over us for actually a couple of years. A little more than 2 years ago, Eagle, I believe it was then DEQ, performed an audit of our soil erosion and soil conservation program and practices. We didn't come to their attention for any particular reason. These audits are to be done by statute. They're to be done every few years. We were actually overdue. It was discovered, one of the findings during this audit was that our SESC ordinance had fallen out of date. Our intent in our ordinance is to track Part 91 of the Natural Resources and Environmental Protections Act, but our language failed to ensure that our ordinance automatically adopted amendments to Part 91. And of course, this happened from time to time. So I've had to learn quite a bit about soil erosion in Part 91. But prior to this, I worked very closely with folks at Eagle. I wore out one program person and ended up with a second one by the end of the day. But by statute, prior to this coming to you for approval, this had to be circulated amongst various folks at Eagle and had to receive their approval. That review by Eagle has been done. We've received their approval, and I provided you the letter that documents that. I also provide you two drafts, one that's pretty well marked up and the other that's mostly clean, so that you can see the changes that are proposed and then what it would look like at the end of the day. What we've done is we just cut this thing way down to rely on Part 91 to retain certain local preferences around enforcement. And we added a provision that Bernie requested regarding stormwater. So that's the substance of the thing. Regarding process, and then it took me a while to figure this out. I finally consulted with Attorney Bill Fahey about the process. What do we do? And the bottom line is that this ordinance, having gone through the Eagle review process, only requires your approval. It does not require publication, does not require a public hearing, only your approval. So I am looking for a motion to approve the SESC ordinance amendments as presented.
Hey, any questions?
So moved.
A motion by Commissioner Bailey to approve. Second, support by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion?
I do have a question. Tracy, you did just say that, that there was, you did talk to an attorney about it. There was no need to, I mean, you're saying that all we have to do is just approve it. We don't need an attorney's name on it?
No, you don't. Eagle did a review, the substantive review. So it's an ordinance, not a policy.
Okay.
Okay, any further questions? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay?
Thank you very much.
You have one more thing, Tracy, on the OSHA standards?
Yeah, this is, I don't know that I'll be able to tell you anything you don't know, but the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, it issued its standards for implementation of the vaccine mandate announced by President Biden a couple of months ago. Petitioners, though, promptly want a stay of the mandate in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, while we are not in the Fifth Circuit and arguably are not subject to that stay, we are treating it as being on hold. And I believe our practice in this regard is not unlike those in other counties. But we also know that folks are scrambling in other circuits to also file stays. So suffice it to say, for now, we are viewing this thing here in Gratiot County as stayed. So, but the best advice is to continue to prepare. So Sheila and I met with Jennifer Wood with the courts, and we all agree that we need to be ready with an internal policy in case this thing is upheld and if we are needing to implement then on a short timeline. So understanding that this mandate may never come to fruition, Sheila and I will nonetheless be putting together a policy, and we will get it in front of you for review. We're hoping at the next meeting. I don't think that, I mean, I'm sure that this thing will not be litigated and we won't know if it's going to be upheld or overruled, but we want to be ready, and we'll get the policy in front of you just so that you have ample opportunity to look at it. Perhaps you'll give us some feedback at the next meeting. And so just wanting to prepare us for what could be rather quick action. So I'm not seeking action from this board this evening. I'm only briefing you on where things are and letting you know what our plans are for preparation during this stay period. That is it.
All righty, thank you, Tracy. Any questions on that? And any unfinished business anyone has?
Chuck, I on the
That's right.
letter that I'm proposing, I would like, I'll stay out of it, but I'd like a motion just to go forward with that.
I'll so move that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Bailey. We have a second. Go forward with the
Just sending out the
Review.
letter and requesting information.
For the millages.
for the millages.
Who are you sending a letter to?
Every
Millages.
millage holder, everyone that.
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Commissioner Bunting. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion passed. All right. Now, any other unfinished business? We're looking for a motion then.
Dismissal for finance meeting.
Motion by Commissioner Bailey. We have a second to go to finance meeting. Support by Commissioner Smith. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, nay. John, you're in this meeting, and I'm assuming Chris is running it also? There he is.
Correct. Do we need to take a break? Does anybody need do we need a 5-minute break or anything? If not, we'll just go right ahead.
Sounds good. Go ahead.
And go ahead, Chris, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so I had a few minutes to go through some of the ARP guidance documents to see what they said about drains, since that came up in the meeting earlier tonight. Surprisingly, it does not directly say whether or not it can be used for a drain in the sense that we use them. The way that it is written up in here is that we can use ARP funds to improve wastewater and stormwater infrastructure systems. Now, the nitty gritty of how it describes it, you can tell that it's definitely written for wastewater or stormwater systems in a metropolitan area where you have concrete and asphalt that are adding to the difficulties of getting rid of stormwater. It's not written for farmland or for ditches, but it doesn't exclude that either. So that would have to be something that I would get an interpretation from somebody else or ask some questions from some other people about. So I don't have a direct answer for you, but I'm not going to tell you no at this time either. So as soon as my mouse pops up, I'm going to go ahead and go into our cash balances for October 31st. You can see our general fund was sitting at 8.3 million, which is approximately 2 million higher than it was at this point in time last year at 6.3. Our ARP funds, the COVID Recovery Fund 279, we're sitting at about approximately 2.9 million still in that account. There are 2 large distributions that the board has passed that have not been distributed yet. Those are to the city of Elma and the city of Ithaca for their, what I believe is their sewer projects that they had. And then as soon as they have approved bids or and know how much they'll be drawing, they'll be reaching out to me and requesting those funds. But until they know how much they're going to draw, we'll have that in our account, and it'll be as simple as them reaching out to us, you know, when their council has approved the project. Anybody have any questions related to cash balances? If not, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move on to the check register. I will give you a moment to review it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Chris, I had one, CNI maintenance, 79,000. Who are these folks?
What date is that in?
10/14/21.
You said CNI?
So CNI maintenance. CNI maintenance.
Excuse me.
Oh, not the letter C, right?
Yeah, the letter C
Oh, it is?
and I, the and sign, and then building maintenance. It's on the, I don't know, it's on page 6 of 9 pages.
Oh, okay.
There's a C 101 account.
At the roofing project, Chris?
CNI maintenance,
Should be.
$79,680.
Yep, that was our roof project.
Okay. We haven't let any bids out on that, and maybe this will be a question with Tracy on that health department building yet, or I know we hired somebody else to handle all that, but.
Yeah, the RFP isn't out yet.
All right. That's all I had.
Okay, I will give you a moment to review our October revenue and expenditure reports by fund. If you have any questions on that, go ahead and let me know. And then Commissioner Lemmerman, I believe when you're ready, we can pass it on to the treasurer's reports.
I have a question. Or a couple of questions, Chris. Is that Gratiot Integrated Health Network, is that mental health?
Mental health.
Okay. And then why did we give money to Huron County? 27,000.
Probably kids.
Take care of something. for us.
Juvenile detention.
Yeah.
I'd say.
And then the other one, it right, what is that?
IT right.
IT rights are, IT right is our
You're talking about that 102,000. Is that the annual amount or something?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who's it go to?
it's for information technology. It's the people that we talk to our systems.
Our IT right, this is our information technology contractor.
And that's for the year or for how many months or?
That's for the year, in a contract and a contract amount approved by this board.
Yeah, they bid it out.
Okay, I just had forgotten. And then Michigan State University, we have 21,000. Did we all go to the game and didn't know it?
MSU Extension,
That's the extension.
yeah, the board that you're on.
I see that we gave the child advocacy the 135,000, but then down a little bit further, we gave them another 10,000.
The 135 would have been ARP funds for the CASA program.
Yeah, I knew that, but I wondered about why the 10,000 wasn't added. I mean, why did we give them another 10?
Well,
Is that something from the courts?
the
Correct.
Child Advocacy Center is comprised of many, many programs. So it would have gone for another function. Chris, do you have that? I mean, you wouldn't pair them.
Through the child care fund.
It's through the probate court.
Chris, did the first disbursement of funds of the cash OPEB funds get allocated into investments?
I did not send that first one out yesterday, as we discussed, because I need to make a draw from that trust fund. So I wanted to ask if instead of submitting money and then withdrawing money, should I just hang on to a portion of what we were planning on submitting? Does that make sense to you? Was that
No.
okay?
Sorry about
Well, we'd set aside $300,000 from our general fund to put into the OPEB trust fund. On a completely separate issue, we are going to start drawing money from the OPEB trust fund this year to fund our expenses. So instead of depositing that money in the OPEB fund
long
and
as
then
he can
withdrawing it
account for
again,
it.
should we
Yeah.
not deposit it and just?
I understood. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think as long as you can account for it, that should work.
That makes sense to me, Chris.
It's simple.
Okay.
That's simple.
All right. Is there any other questions here, or should we turn it over to Terry? I guess we'll turn it over to Terry.
Hi there. I have submitted the usual reports. No changes in the totals of the investments. The receipt distribution report, that's always changing. And there weren't very many transfers. So does anybody have any questions about any of the transfers or any of the receipt distribution line items or amounts? Anything on there?
The only thing I'd like to see is you have the chemical bank that went to TCF, that went to Huntington. And I can tell you now, it's really a mess. I have all three. In fact, not only did it change, but it also changed all my account numbers too. So that's why I'm wondering, we're still using chemical bank here. And it went to TCF, then it went to Huntington. And when I went to Huntington, well, I have money taken out for bills. And I was contacted by the people that take out, and they said they couldn't get this money. So I go to Huntington Bank to find out that all my account numbers have been changed. So I don't know if you're aware of that either. I mean, everything, savings, checking, everything has been changed to a different number. Debit card, credit card, all of that's been changed.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Well, they didn't do it with TCF, but they did it with Huntington.
Oh,
So
well,
that's-
yes, I was aware of that.
Okay.
Thank you, though. Nothing else?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, well, thanks, everyone.
Okay, the last item that I have then for the board is we have completed our annual county incentive program reporting requirements that go to the state every year. They are due to the state of Michigan on December 1st. In order to get approximately 1/3 of our state revenue sharing, we have to submit these to the state, and we have to have this posted publicly so that our residents can access them. These are available on our website. We have to report, we give what's called a citizen's guide, which is basically just showing how much money we collect through various avenues, taxes, licenses, state, feds, local charges for services. We put together a report on all of our debt. I put together this summary page for all the debt that we have outstanding. You see our general fund, our general operating, we have our pension bond, and we have a small portion of a central dispatch bond that was issued to build that building. Central dispatch is responsible for 2/3 of that bond. So you see that section here. And then we have our drain commissioner bonds, which a new one will be added next year, since we just approved a bond earlier in this meeting. Our total debt, principal and interest, is 19.4 million. That's down approximately $4 million from last year. So that is nice. And then if you want to see, it tells us when each of these bonds retire. The general funds retire in 2026. And if we scroll down, we get to see each individual bond payment, how much we pay a year. So as far as the debt information, it's good information here. The one on the screen right now happens to be the pension bond fund. So you can see we're staying pretty even keel for the next 4 or 5 years, $860,000 payments. The next item that gets uploaded is called the performance dashboard. There's different sections here that compares one year to another of fiscal stability, economic strength. There's some public safety statistics in there and quality of life statistics. And then the last report that gets put together and sent to the state and published on our website is what our projected budget for this upcoming year and a year 2. So it would be a fiscal year 2023 would look like. So these can be found under the financial services. There's also a link at the very bottom of the homepage of the website to get to this, called the County Incentive Program.
The page you got on the screen there, I don't show that in the packet. The last page is a debt service report.
I see it on the website.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I got it. I turned the page. We're good.
Okay.
Chris, the only question I have is back on your performance dashboard.
Yes.
We always like to see greens and sometimes we get a yellow, but does the negative ones impact us in any way?
Well, when we look at, the first one that's on there, we see is the unfunded pension and OPEB liability.
Right.
And the OPEB liability jumped up. We actually increased the amount of money that we had in our OPEB fund.
Right.
But that liability was calculated in a way that it increased because we had it invested at a rate of return that was somewhere around 2%.
Mm-hmm.
And it was previously calculated at a return around 7%. So while we actually had more money in the account, it calculated a larger liability. So Gratiot County was being responsible and increasing their funds, but the calculation and the way we invested it caused for it to show up red. And then next year, because we have it invested at a higher annual rate of return now, it's going to pop back to green.
Okay, good.
All right.
And I will let you know, I did check on the OPEB account just recently. Over the last couple of years, we have put $2 million into it, and we do have a $2.15 million balance.
Okay. I was just wondering because I knew we were good there, but it showed up red. So I was wondering what the calculation was.
Yeah, at the very bottom where it talks about curbside recycling, I'm sure you're
Yeah.
familiar, the city of Ithaca no longer offers curbside recycling.
Right.
So that negatively affected that calculation. And then property crimes per 1,000 bumped up just a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I'm on 1 point. Okay, well, the biggest one I was worried about was the OPEB one. So.
Yep. Yep, and thanks for having me explain that.
Yeah, okay. Very good.
And that's what I have for you, Commissioner Lumberman. If anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know.
All right, then I guess I'm looking for a motion to end the finance portion and go back to the general meeting.
Move.
Support.
All right, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Alrighty, so we're back in the regular meeting. I believe we need a motion to approve the financial report.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Smith, second. Support by Commissioner Bailey. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passed. I believe we're to the end of our, we have public comment. Any public comment? Matt, you see anybody online?
I'm not seeing anybody connected in.
Okay. Without objection, we've exhausted our agenda and we should stand adjourned.